Interesting. Yeah. So, um, way back when, I can't even think, 2008, something like that. I went on a CSM course with Gene Tabaka, and it's one of those courses that I thought I knew what it was. I'd been using Scrum ish for a few years. I'd been a Scrum Master ish for a few years. I had experience. I'd been doing stuff, and it was working, and it was working pretty well. And then I spent 2 days with Jean Tabaka, and Sally Ann Freudenberg was actually part of the course as well. So she was co-teacher, co-training. Um, it was revelatory. It really was. It was just that, oh, that's how that bit works. It's not what I've been doing. And for me, it is often about simplicity and elegance. It is that realization that I was doing things in a clunky way, and it worked, but actually there was a more elegant way of achieving the same outcome. And it really was just 2 days of me going, oh, oh, oh. And Gene had an amazing impact as both the trainer and as a mentor over probably the next 6 months. I was talked to her on a semi regular basis, sometimes in person, but I'm in the UK. She was US based. Um, but she was the lady who pointed out in the way that um, Gene could. I wasn't a developer. I still thought of myself as a developer. I very much thought I coded for a living. And it was only when she asked when was the last time I coded that I got stumped. I was genuinely sat there, and it was after the 2 day CSM. She just, when did you code? And I was like, oh. It had to have been 3 months beforehand that I had sat down and started on something. Yes, I dipped in and out and helped people in the team because I was an experienced developer and I could turn my hand to most of what we were dealing with. But I hadn't picked up work myself and got it done. I'd helped others get stuff done while worrying more about how people work together and did we have a good retro and how could we line that up and etc. So Jean was hugely pivotal because she pulled the wool from my eyes and made me understand that I'd already morphed into this different role. My practice was no longer software; it was Scrum Mastery. Um, and we had a good sit down, I remember, and she had a conversation with me about how do I turn one of my gigs into a Scrum Master role. So instead of being there as a developer, how do I turn up and add as much, if not more valuable, as a Scrum Master? So Jean really set me off to start with this. She really gave me those foundations, um, and importantly, the confidence. I've not always been the most confident guy, particularly when it comes to my own skill sets. Just that ability to say, you know what you're doing, you can go in there and do it. Just do what you do, right? And having somebody available, and this is why it's so important to me, sort of mentorship is so important, is I had somebody in my corner, I had somebody I could drop an email to, and she would fire an email back. It might be a day or two later, but I would get an email back and it would always be encouraging, it would always be supportive. It would, if it needed to, correct some thinking or give me a new tool or a new model or just unravel things that maybe I'd bound up a bit too tight. But that is, I actually think back on it quite fondly, so it's quite a long time ago now. Um, but she was absolutely that pivotal person who switched me from thinking as a coder, as a developer, to thinking as a scrum master.